Hi, I'm Gianni DeCenzo, and you're watching The Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Ring Press today. I am so thrilled to be joined by Gianni DeCenzo. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for chatting with us. We have a lot to cover, so I'll jump right into it. Let's talk Cobra Kai. The
Okay.
show dives deep into morals, perception, friendship. What does it mean to be a part of this show and this franchise?
I think the biggest thing is just like growth. That's honestly what it means to me because throughout the entire show, we have so many different characters and they're all kind of growing, especially Dmitry. Like looking back on the first season, he's very different from season 3 Dmitry kicking ass and making out in the hallway. That's not something season 1 Dmitry does. So, yeah, definitely growth. But overall, it's just kind of amazing to be a part of.
So, what kind of reactions have you gotten from, because the great thing about this show is that it
Mm.
not only has the new Cobra Kai kind of next generation, but Karate Kid and what that franchise has meant to so many people. So, what are some comments that you've been getting over the past few years?
Honestly, okay, so when I first started doing the show and right before it came out, I didn't realize how many people like were gonna scrutinize it. Like I didn't know it was under such scrutiny because like that's people's childhood that we were working with. And so when it came out and I heard people be like, "Oh, wow, I thought this was gonna be a disaster." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that's what we were up against." Okay, cool. But it's just been super positive because I think the writers of the show, John, Josh, and Hayden, the creators, they do a really good job of not just using the nostalgia from the original Karate Kid to bring people in. You know, it's its own cohesive story. It doesn't just rely on, hey, this is your thing from the past, so watch this. It's got its own plots.
So you were talking about Dimitri's growth. He has definitely grown in confidence and skills over the 3 seasons. I wanted to talk about his relationship with Eli or
Uh,
Hawk. Was that laser tag scene as tough to film as it was to watch?
yeah, it was very tough. It was tough for my dad to watch that. If you could imagine him just watching his son get his arm broken, and he couldn't tell whether it was like, okay, that's my son. That's why I'm so, emotional, or if it's, my acting. I choose to believe it's my acting. Maybe, hopefully,
You're like,
to be
let's go
fair.
with number two.
Yeah,
Let's go with
yeah, yeah.
number
We're
two.
just gonna,
Yeah.
for my self-esteem, we're gonna go with number two. But yeah, that was a tough scene to film, just because I think that's the darkest place. Uh, I've had to go to for this show in particular. It's very intense. And when it happened, the set was just like kind of quiet because I'm just sitting there writhing in pain on a dirty floor, just you know, and it's very hard to rehearse a scene like that without getting the cops called on you because you're supposed to be just screaming in agonizing pain. And so I didn't know how to prep for that.
Yeah.
Eventually, I just kind of crawled into my closet and hoped for the best that, the clothes would dampen. I have a lot of jackets, so I was kind of praying.
Soundproof,
Yeah, yeah,
soundproof with the
yeah.
clothing. Did
Yeah, I
you
was
and
very dependent.
Jacob, talk through the scene at all ahead of
Mm.
time, or did you kind of just let it play out as it did when the
We do
cameras were
like
rolling?
we do like a couple of rehearsals before each and every take just to kind of get blocking down and stuff like that. I just kind of like to go into it just ready to go. Jacob, who's like an absolute professional, he's like amazing, except when he's trying to make me laugh during takes. He does that occasionally. But yeah, no, we just kind of went for it, and I think it worked out pretty well.
It did. It was such a chilling scene.
Thank
Really
you.
hats off to everyone involved, even Mary, her part as well. It came together
Yeah,
really nicely for obviously the storyline. Where do
she
you
had a tough one.
She
Yeah.
did, like, her curled up there with that
Uh,
anxiety, it was so good to watch.
no, yeah, it's so good to watch your
I
anxiety.
know, it's
I
so good to
love
watch,
it.
but, like, it's just the acting, like, you can
Yeah.
tell you guys really took it up then to the next level. Where do you think that Dimitri and Hawk's relationship stands heading into season 4?
Well, okay, so it's very, very complicated because season one we're friends, but we kind of start to lose that relationship. Season two, it just goes to hell, and then season three, obviously, even worse because he breaks my arm. But of course, at the end we kind of reconnect. The Binary Bros are kind of back. Obviously, after everything that happened, there's still going to be a little bit of tension there because, it's not that easy to just forgive and forget. They got to work through that stuff. But I think their friendship is, one to be desired, despite the issues that they've had in the past. So I think that they'll be able to reconnect, maybe win a few coding competitions in the future.
That
Something like
was gonna be my next question. If you would do us the
that. Okay.
pleasure, if you remember it,
Oh,
the
God.
Binary Brothers, do you remember it?
Okay, like the entire like sentence.
Yes.
Okay. So I got my nacho in hand. Well, then I consider this a belated party for the coding competition we won at a binary camp, right? Dmitry and Eli, binary brothers. That's the most singing I've done in my entire acting career.
That was great. That's become such a big Cobra Kai meme, like just
Yeah.
the Binary Brothers. People think that Hawk broke Dimitri's arm just so he would not have to, see him do this all over again.
I didn't even think about that. Was the robot arm that bad? I like to think I do a good robot.
And then there was like this stuff as well. That was a
Oh,
great scene. Yeah.
oh God.
I don't think we'll be seeing that again anytime soon, but as you mentioned, hopefully
just
they
just for saying that, just out of spite, I'm gonna add it in season 4. I don't care if
just
it doesn't.
improv it in,
Yeah,
right? Like
I.
it won't be in your scene and then you'll just
It'll be like the most intense scene ever. Like my mom died. I'm just like my mother's dead. Just something like that. Cause you hurt my feelings. So
season 4 bloopers. Stay tuned, right?
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of those. I'm not gonna stop until it's in the show. Oh
So,
God.
just going into season 4 though, what are you hoping to see more of from Dmitry?
Honestly, I'm hoping to see more of his fight skills just kind of develop because the cool thing about his arc is it's a very slow process. Like he's still a nerd at his core. So getting to that badassery level, it takes a minute. So I'm just kind of hoping to see him advance in his karate skills later in the season. And who knows? Maybe if there's an All Valley tournament, maybe he competes, maybe he does good. I don't know. Don't hold me to it.
Do you
I'm not
think
trying.
that Dmitry does have that potential to go all the way at All Valley?
Oh, definitely. I think he could do it. I think really the biggest obstacle is just himself. Like he just needs to believe in himself because especially in season 1 he was very much like, yeah, no, things aren't good right now. I'm just going to lay low. I'm going to get a great job and then marry someone super hot because I have so much money. I think he's like trying to slowly realize that okay, maybe I don't have to play such a long game. Maybe I have value as I am now. So, yeah.
So someone that could be in his corner, obviously Yasmine. When you heard that they were bringing Annalisa back, what were your thoughts? Were you like, yes, it's about time?
I was like, oh boy, here we go. My man Dmitry. Oh God. They sat us down during the beginning of season 3 just to kind of run through what is gonna happen. And they're like, okay, so season 3, you're making out with Yasmin. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like that's very all right. And it's funny because like I halfway into the show, I actually turned 18. I came there 17. My mom had to come with me, obviously. And then literally the very next day after I turned 18, they were like, okay, make out scene. I was just like, wow, all right, just going right into it. But no, yeah, I was really excited for Demetri because that's he's been after her for so long. And one thing that's like this really cool realization that I had, if you go to the season 1 in the cafeteria scene, you kind of see like Demetri, Eli, and Miguel looking at the rich girls from across the cafeteria. We actually kind of pair off with them perfectly. Miguel gets Sam, Eli gets Moon, I get Yasmin. I mean, she still denies it, but she loves me.
Like Dmitry said, he's 101% in love. So there are bound to be more of hopefully that relationship we get to see in season 4. What was personally your favorite scene to film?
I think my favorite scene would probably have to be the final fight scene, just because it's like one continuous take. It's like a action director's dream project, because I eventually want to kind of do my own sort of directing and film writing stuff like that. I want to have like cool fight scenes, and so just kind of getting to see how it's like done on a professional set is amazing. People, pay to go to college to see that kind of stuff, and I get to see that for free. They pay me to see that. And then it was just also cool to kind of be a part of, because up until season 3, Dmitry hasn't really done a whole lot of fighting. He's done a little bit, but it was just cool to finally get to be a part of like such a big final fight scene. And I think Dmitry held his own. I think he did.
It was pretty epic, unfortunately, someone got thrown through a window there.
We don't need to worry about that. He's fine. He walked it.
Oh, thank goodness for like safety on set and stunt doubles.
Yeah. Oh God, that was an intense scene to film. Cause like there were no wires. We had the mats on the ground, obviously, but really it was just someone just jumping through a window. Like we had a stunt person, but we reacted as you would just seeing a legitimate person getting thrown through a window, because that's, at the end of the day, that's really just what happened. So yeah, that was crazy.
How about your favorite Dmitry one-liner?
Oh God. I think my favorite will always be at the cafeteria, just like, oh yeah, we hang out all the time, make out, give each other hand jobs. Just cause like that's like my first like sarcastic quip. So it'll always have a place in my heart. And then the funny thing about that was we actually did a bunch of alt takes on that. The directors, they were like, okay, try this. Okay, do that. I think one of the lines was like, oh yeah, we hang out all the time, make out, have consensual relations. Just like weird lines. And we did like 10 takes of just so many different things. Yeah, and that's why it's kind of just seared into my brain.
I wish there was video footage of all this ad-libbing. I love the one from season 3. It was, I think, at the end of the speech. It was like, I usually take pride in my grandiloquence, but it's an emotional time. That one was good. And then it wasn't said out of Dimitri's mouth, but it was through Carmen when she was talking about the comic book that Dmitry left Miguel, and she's like, oh, don't, it's not UV resistant, don't stick it by the window. And I'm like, that is something that he would say.
Yeah, straight from his pale friend Dmitry. Yep, that's how you could sum me up, I guess.
More quips to come in season 4, obviously. Tell me about your relationship with the cast. What do you like to do when the cameras aren't rolling, or when you have off days, things like that?
So, okay. This is going to sound really nerdy, but during season 2 and a lot of season 3, Jacob and Sholo, they kind of share like an Airbnb, because we're here for 3 months, so we have to get a place. And I would go over constantly, and we play this card game called Magic the Gathering. It's as nerdy as it sounds, but it's honestly my favorite game. I can waste hours just playing it, and I have wasted hours playing it. But when we were on set, they were actually teaching me how to play, because I didn't know how to play at the time. So I would go to their place after set or on the weekends, just literally whenever. And I would just go there for several hours just so they could kick my ass in the game. So season 4, hopefully I can win, but I don't know. But yeah, we just kind of like to all hang out. We're like one big family that's making a show. I think actually recently we all did a Zoom call and played, I think, Quiplash, Jackbox TV, right? We just play like, like Cards Against Humanities, but you enter in your own thing. Yeah, I went around.
And you haven't like seen them for a while face to face, because season 3 was filmed quite a long time ago. So I'm sure you're looking forward to reuniting with them.
Yeah, so we filmed season 3 like a year and a half ago, and obviously because of COVID, we haven't been able to hang out too much. I got to see them a little bit because we were doing like a signing thing, but it was like for a little second. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to
for just a second, right? You spend like 3 months with them, and then it's like, okay, hi, bye.
Yeah, that's just how acting is. You say hi to someone for 3 months, and it's a hard thing. Yeah, I just rolled down my window. Okay, hi, bye. Yeah.
Hopefully, soon. Rumor has it it's on a production weekly starting soon, but won't know until you all spill on Instagram. I'm sure the creators will have something to say when you are all in the same place and
Don't
safe.
look at me. I can neither confirm nor deny without losing my job.
Non-disclosure agreement. This is really important stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about improv
Okay.
because you have a background in improv. How have
Yeah.
those skills and that training helped you as an actor?
I actually got to do a decent amount of improv, especially in season 3. There are two things that come to mind when we have like the soccer tournament, and Sam's like, "Oh, come on, it's gonna be fine." I'm like, "Oh yeah, go Mountain Lions, roar!" That's actually an ad lib that we kind of worked in because we were like, "Okay, well, how should he react in this?" I'm like, "Okay, what if he says go Mountain Lions?" And they're like, "Okay, great, add a roar." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, so we just have roar. And honestly, one of my favorite improv things that made it in was when I have my science fair project, the Legos, which by the way just weighed 1,000 pounds, and I had to carry that thing back and forth, take after take. I got my workout in. But I have the line where Yasmine's like, "Oh, great, I'll never have to pay for an A again." I'm like, "Oh, you'll never have to pay for an A again," you know? And that was just kind of an ad lib because I thought that seems to fit, Dmitry, he takes care of his girl, not necessarily with bronze, but with what he has, brain. He'll get her some A's. Yeah. I honestly think they'd be like the ultimate power couple. Like with her popularity and his brains, they could rule the school.
I
Maybe they
think
run
they
for
could,
president.
because the social status right now is
Yeah,
kind of out the window, so it's just
yeah.
like it works.
That just reminds me of the sexual Venn diagram. My popularity is on the rise while you're steadily decreasing. Oh God. What did I
Um,
make myself?
Also on your resume, you have some special skills listed, among them clay work, puppetry, magic. So tell me about these interests because they're not your everyday hobbies.
No, I'm a little bit of an odd one. I'm not gonna lie. I also like to sew, and then this is really nerdy. I like to also code. I think, legitimately win a coding competition if I wanted to. But yeah, I just like to really make things whenever I'm not acting, especially with acting on hold because of COVID. We've had like a year of not really doing anything, so I was just building a lot. I actually did a lot of sewing for masks for people when COVID kind of started up, and the shops weren't open, so I eventually ran out of elastic bands, and I had to use rubber bands. It was a mess, but yeah. Also magic. So I did a lot of magic acts growing up, especially for elementary school. If you could imagine, like 8-year-old me getting up on stage making a banana disappear after having like folded it 5 times. It's a real thing. I did. Should do it again. But yeah, I like to do anything creative, really.
It's awesome when you get to kind of flex that creative
Mm,
muscle in other areas. And you mentioned developing your own content. Uh,
mm.
Original adult cartoon series. Tell
Yeah.
me, like, what's in the works? What can you share?
Well, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a couple ideas. See, I've always like kind of admired the cartoons that were also kind of dramatic and had like adult humor in it, like Rick and Morty, yeah, Family Guy, stuff like that. And then I'm also like super into sci-fi and action. So I have like a couple of different cartoon ideas I want to do, and then eventually I want to do comic book ideas. And I have like this kind of working series of this superhero team. I have this one guy that like he gets brainwashed, and all of a sudden his left arm, there's like a symptom, a syndrome called alien hand syndrome, and it's yeah. So basically his left arm is like a black ops fighter, and he's just kind of getting dragged along as everything happens. So don't steal my idea. That's like my favorite idea. But that's kind of something that I eventually want to make along the lines. And then of course I want to do live action stuff. My inspiration for movies and stuff like that is actually Edgar Wright. He did a Baby Driver. Also mostly just because the way he combines music to the action is just, it's amazing. So I eventually want to do stuff like that.
That's awesome. Also, when you think about composition and everything
Mm.
that kind of fits together, something that I wish was talked about more, maybe even built into your character, is the fact that you have type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
When people come up to you in person or, in today's age on social media, they comment, oh, they themselves or their children have diabetes, and they see you as a working actor doing karate, doing your thing. What does that mean to you? How special is that to hear?
I mean, it's just special to me because people like I try to show people like diabetes, it sucks, especially type 1. It's really difficult. But it doesn't have to really affect you at all. And I just try to show people that hey, it's really not a big deal. Because when I first got I think I was diagnosed at like 14, and it just at first it seems hopeless. Like it seems like this kind of foggy haze of like why is this happening to me? I don't want this because especially at the time I was terrified of shots and then being told like hey I'm gonna have to take shots every day of my life. It was tough, but I just kind of want to tell people like it's not a big deal when you get into it. It just becomes whatever, and honestly I don't even really feel the shots. They're like needles this big. It doesn't really have to affect you. I honestly forget sometimes that I have diabetes, which is not always good because I have a fanny pack with all my insulin in it, but I'll forget it just constantly. Like I was at the movies one time, I left it there and we had to like go to the movie theater. The movie theater was closed, so we had to call people and they had to like open the doors. So yeah, don't forget your insulin. But other than that, it's not hard as long as you remember your medicine. And yeah, I just try to show people like even physically it doesn't have to affect you very much because when I was first diagnosed I was super skinny, but now that I'm on insulin I feel perfectly fine. So yeah.
Well said, and I like the no limits kind of attitude and
Yeah,
mindset, and I'm sure you have a great
yeah, it doesn't have
support
to affect you.
system around you as
Mm.
well. Tell me,
Oh yeah, my
how
parents
your parents, how have they like helped you in your career get to where you are?
Oh God, honestly I feel like I owe them my entire career. So I started acting when I was 8 years old. I walked up to my parents and I was just like, "Hey, when am I going to be on TV?" Because my parents they were actually like super into acting growing up, and they actually met in an acting class. And then my dad proposed in that exact same acting class. He it was like during some sort of acting scene, like something that they were working on. He got down on one knee and brought out the whole ring and everything. He sold his motorcycle for it. Uh, and so I just kind of always admire that. And I thought, I kind of want to try my hand in it. So at 8 years old, my mom, we went outside, got in my best little button up. They took pictures of me, sent it everywhere. And yeah, the rest is history. And even now, like they help me with every acting thing that I work on. They're my coaches. They help me through everything. I don't know. I would not be anywhere without them. So when I win an Oscar, I'm gonna give them half of it. Don't ask me
Chop it
how.
in half.
Yeah, with my karate skill. That's perfect.
It's coming together. It's all coming together.
Thank you.
Speaking of what they've helped you with, Fart Copter. Okay, how old were you when you filmed it?
I was 10 years old in my best little suit with a British Australian accent. We filmed it was like a home tape audition sort of thing. So my mom
I
filmed
saw
me.
those. I think she posted
You
those on
saw the
YouTube. There was
original
one
audition.
with the accent and one with no accent.
Oh God. Oh my God. I looked like my dad when he was my age. So yeah, I'm like in the audition, I have like a little vest. I have my hair like just gelled to hell. And I'm like, hi, I'm Gianni DeCenzo in my high squeaky voice. And yeah, I got it. And it was awesome because I got to play a 10-year-old that kills his entire family with fart copters. So yeah, that's on my resume for the rest of my life.
When you were
And
filming, did you
yeah.
have any idea what was going on?
I think yeah, on a base level,
Okay.
I understood. It was just really fun to be a part of because like I got to be in control of the short film, or well not short film, short infomercial, I guess you'd
Yeah,
call
it
it.
was an
Yeah,
infomercial.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah, and it was just super fun to kind of get to roam around in my little suit, just doing that. It was a great role. Oh god,
Because
and honestly,
now
no matter what,
now you know what the omen is. Like, I'm sure at
yeah,
age 10 you were probably like, okay, you got it, but then because I was like, oh, this is so innocent, I should have known better. It was Adult Swim. It got darker and
yeah.
darker and darker progressively.
It was my homage to the Omen Child, definitely. I was Damien, right? That's his name.
Yeah, you did a
I
good Antichrist, I have to
Yeah,
say. People who haven't
that's
seen it, it's on Adult Swim's YouTube channel, and a
yeah.
lot of the comments now are like, they're like, oh, that's the kid from Cobra Kai. So it's getting a lot of more
Oh,
attention, I would say.
that's awesome, and thank you. I didn't know how to take the compliment of, oh, you play a good Antichrist, so thank you.
No problem. Couldn't let you go without talking about that. We have our signature question for you. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Oh god, this is the hardest question I've ever been asked. Um, chocolate mint because I'm cool. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a
Why
good
not?
one. We like it when people go for the metaphors. So,
Oh,
like you're minty, kind of cool. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, yeah. It's deeper than that's how deep I meant it to be. Yeah, I, I'm really thoughtful. Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Make sure to catch Gianni in Cobra Kai. Season 3 is now out on Netflix, and we will see you next time.
I play the best little nerd. Bye.